Everybody, today we're going to do a full face makeup, so let's begin. This is going to be super full face, so it's going to be quite a lot of products and quite a lot of steps. So first I'm going to take the Vitamin E Enriched Face Balm. This is by Bobbi Brown. I'm going to take this and just tap this into the skin. This is going to bring a lot of moisture to the skin and revitalize it. And this is really going to feel good, especially in the morning or whenever you're doing your makeup, because the sponge is really cool as well as the moisturizer. And I already did my brows just because we're going to be doing so many other steps. I didn't want to have to worry about that as well, but I did use the Benefit Brow Pencil in the color 2. Next, we're going in with like 10 different primers. I'm going to be using the Cover FX Illuminating Primer. So I'm using this on the high points of my face as well as the outer perimeters. Just anywhere I'd like to kind of glow. So I guess I don't put it like down here, but basically everywhere else. Next, I'm going in with something that will control my oil. This is the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I'm going to take a pea-sized amount of this and press this into the skin. I like to put this everywhere I might get oily, so kind of in the T-zone area. I'm not a super oily person or super dry. I feel like my skin is pretty normal, though I like to keep it hydrated. But this primer is great for all day wear when you want super full coverage. Once I spread it out, I just begin to pat it into the skin, and it's super like slippery feeling, but then it kind of dries, but doesn't feel greasy. So if you're super duper oily, this would be your best friend. For some added glow, I'm taking the Kevyn Aucoin Celestial Liquid Highlighter. Just taking, probably a pump of that. And then I'm just taking this on my hands. We're just going to take this on the skin. All the high points again. And this is just really going to look very luminous and beautiful under our foundation. Before we begin our foundation, I'm going to take the Tarte Luminous Dewy Skin Mist and spray this all over my face. Alrighty, next we're going to go in with foundation. I'm using one of my absolute favorite foundations, actually 2 today. So I'm using the Elcie foundation combined with the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops, and this is going to make for a super full coverage look. So I like to take probably 2 pumps of the Elcie. I am running low on this pretty bad, as you can hear. There we go. So that was 2-ish pumps. I'm in the shade Warm Ivory, though it's pretty tan for me. I don't think I'm quite that tan now. So I'm taking this shade N30, which means neutral 30. Obviously they have like different shade ranges, and I like to mix that together as well with a little bit of a like highlighting concealer for under the eyes, just because it is a little dark for me, so that will just help to even everything out and to provide some really good coverage. So as you can see, that mess on the back of my hand, I just rub that all together, and that's going to create a really beautiful full custom made full coverage foundation. Just going to begin by applying this to my skin. I think that when you customize your foundations, they turn out really, really great. I'm just kind of working this into the skin since we are doing full coverage, so I know that it's evenly placed everywhere. Now that my face is covered with so much makeup, I'm going to take the Artis number 7 oval brush and just start to smooth everything out. This brush is great for full coverage. I really like how it applies foundation. This brush is great for applying foundation. It's super full coverage, and it's great to go in with some kind of brush like this and then go in with like a beauty blender when you're wanting some really full coverage, full makeup look. And normally when you're doing your makeup, you never want to swipe, but with this brush, it's important to do long strokes. So right now my skin feels kind of heavy, so I'm going to take a beauty blender and just begin to pat this, and this is really going to help to pick up any excess product and make your skin feel a lot lighter. This is a great trick for still keeping your really full coverage foundation, but not having it feel so heavy and cakey. And with this, you just want to use patting motions. You do not want to swipe this. So next, I'm going to take 2 concealers under the eyes. So we're going to take a correcting one and a highlighting one. So you don't want to use a color corrector if you don't have to, but one of the most common color correctors I think everyone should keep in their makeup stash is something that's either peachy, pinky if you're a lighter skin tone, or if you're deeper, you want to go for something more orange. I have been using the Benefit Erase Paste ever since I was in 8th grade. I just pick it up with my beauty blender and dab it under my eye where I have lots of darkness, and this is just going to cancel this out. If you go straight in with just a highlighting concealer, it's going to look very ashy throughout the day, and it's going to do the exact opposite. It's going to look dark. Next, we're going to highlight the face, so I'm using the Naked Skin Concealer by Urban Decay in the shade Light Neutral. I do like this concealer, though I like the Tarte one better, the Tarte Shape Tape, though I do not want to run out of that like so bad, so I'm trying not to use it. This is also a great concealer, it's just the Tarte one's just so good. So I'm just putting this under my eyes. I'm keeping it kind of close because I want to make sure all the brightness is focused on the center of the face. Also do it above the brows a little bit and down the nose, also on the cupid's bow. It looks good to me. Now I'm going to be taking a beauty blender and just blending that out. I like to pinch up on the beauty blender to really get under the eye and begin to press the product into the skin. You never want to swipe this. You want to make sure you're pressing it together so all these products melt together and become one. Just because you're putting a lot of makeup and products on your face doesn't mean that it has to look cakey. You just have to know how to do it right so it all melts together. The beauty blender is a must-have because it makes everything just like melt together and picks up any of the excess oils. Okay, so we got all the brightening, highlighting done, and I've really been loving some pink tones to my makeup. So I'm going to take this MAC Prep and Prime highlighter, and it's in the shade Radiant Rose. I've actually had this forever, and I'm just going to dot it around right here just to add some nice little pink tones to my face, also to the center right here. Then we're just going to do that same step. And now we are even brighter. So we're still going to stick with creams. So I'm going to use the Rainforest of the Sea by Tarte color corrector, and I'm going to use this contour shade, and I'm going to begin to contour out my skin. And I'm using a foundation brush. I find that this works best when you use a foundation brush to kind of paint it on. And I love this shade because it really does look like a shadow on the skin. And then I've mentioned this before, I kind of have like a very kind of widow's peak there, slash I don't have any hair on like this part of my head, so I like to contour that. Also like to contour my jawline slightly. I'm gonna go back in and contour this more. I like to use back and forth motions because I think it looks the most natural on the skin. If you guys are wondering how to highlight or contour, I have a whole video on how to do that, and I'll link that down below. I use half drugstore, half high-end products. So after that, we're going to go in with about a million powders. So the first thing I'm going to take is the Kat Von D translucent powder. I've heard a lot of really mixed reviews about this powder. I just tap it in the dish right here and apply it with a beauty blender. Though for me, I really like it because I feel like it's not as drying. It also is not crazy translucent, so if you are more fair, it's going to brighten that under eye. I obviously am not very tan at all, so I don't know if it would probably give you a white cast. I've heard if you're more tan, though for me this gives me a really nice finish, and I don't notice it to be as dry as like the Laura Mercier one on me. That's where I don't really feel like I have super dry skin, but I definitely feel like my skin can be sensitive to products like that. So I'm going to use this to bake. I do take this all around my face, where my makeup might break up throughout the day. So definitely around the smile lines, because those are always crazy on me. Around the nose, around the forehead, and really at this point I don't even have any powder on here. It's just like leftover, so I'm just pressing this into the skin. I'm going to take a little bit more and just really press it right here to really brighten up this area. Also put it right under the eye so that when we do our eye makeup, it's very sharp. Okay, I went a little crazy. Okay, next I'm going in with the Tarte BB Cream Foundation. This is a powder foundation. I'm gonna take a synthetic kind of kabuki brush, something you might use for your foundation, and I'm gonna take this powder and move it all over the face to really create a super full coverage look. Some people might be like, this is a lot of makeup. It definitely is, but how I'm teaching you how to do this, it's not going to look like a ton of makeup. It's not going to look any more than if you would have put foundation on, and it's going to look a lot more put together and more flawless. Okay, using this to dust some of the powder off and clean everything up. I noticed that I lose a lot of coverage right here, so that's why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to take a similar powder. This is in the shade Medium Tan Honey. I'm going to use this to bronze up the face with a fan brush. This is actually one of my favorite brushes to use. It's so awesome because you can apply highlight, bronzer, contour. You can kick off baking powder. You can set your face with this. It's literally like my all-time favorite face brush. So next I'm going to take the Hourglass bronzer. I'm just going to bronze up my skin again over top of that. Layering products is going to give your face a lot more dimension. If you don't have this many products, you obviously don't have to. I've been collecting makeup for at least 5 years now, so I definitely have a bit of a stash collected. I also like to take the excess and just kind of swirl it around my neck so everything blends, and around my ears a little bit. To kick off the bake on our eyes, we're going to take this Ambient lighting powder in Diffused Light. I'm using the same fan brush. I'm going to pick up the powder. I'm going to take it and sweep it underneath. This is going to help to give a radiant finish under the eyes so it doesn't look so matte, though it's very set. Can also use this kind of all over the face to add some radiance to it, and this looks super duper flawless. This honestly looks better than if you wouldn't put all these products, because you don't have all these little pores because they're all filled in and smoothed out. So right now I'm really liking how my skin is looking, but if you do feel like you have any dry patches or anything is looking creepy, you just want to take a damp beauty blender and begin to press in any of those areas you aren't happy with. So I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop palette, and I'm going to be using mainly Champagne Pop and maybe a spritz of Prosecco Pop. I usually use the A23, but I actually think I'm going to go in with a Sigma blending brush, natural hair, because it will help me to better control where I'm placing the product, and it's an E35. I'm going in with the shade Champagne Pop. This will allow me to get more control where I'm putting the product so it doesn't look so crazy. So I can concentrate the highlight. Oh, I think this was a good choice, this brush. And then you can begin to swirl the brush so that you can blend out that highlight. I also like to do it above the brow to lift that area. Also underneath the brow bone. Always the Cupid's bow, it's a must. Nose. I like to do my nose across and then down. That way it makes it look really slim. I actually like how Champagne Pop looks on its own on my skin tone, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next, I'm going in with 2 blushes just because I have them, 2 Hourglass ones. This one is Dim Infusion and this one is Luminous Flush. I love these blushes because they really do just look like your skin, and I'm doing blush after my highlight. That way everything melts together. I'm placing this on the apples of the cheeks. And again, I love these blushes because they truly look like you are blushing from within. You can't see them on top of the skin, and that is what I love about all these Hourglass products. So I ended up using more of Luminous Flush on my cheeks, but anything kind of a peachy pink would do really well. Next, I'm going to take the Model in a Bottle or the MAC Fix Plus, whichever one you have on hand, and spritz my face so everything melts even further together. And last but not least, something I definitely missed out on is to contour your nose. This is a must for me. I just use a small shader brush. I find that this can be easiest at the last step. And I pick up some Hoola bronzer and just begin to contour the sides of my nose softly using small amounts of product at a time. I just take my beauty blender to blend any of that excess contour out. And there you go, guys. This is a super duper flawless makeup look. I obviously haven't finished the eyes or the lips yet, but I just wanted to make sure you could see the skin and everything. This would be amazing for homecoming coming up, or if you just had an event where you just wanted to look very put together. This is definitely going to make you look super duper flawless, and it does not look cakey at all, and this is very smooth. I'm gonna finish my eyes and then I will be back. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.